Ladies and gentlemen, your boy Jeff. It's showtime, man. How you doing? How's everybody doing? It's one of those days, man. We're close to the elections right now. Everything's crazy. Everybody's nervous, yeah, including myself. But all you can do is do your part. All you can do is your part. You vote. You convince other people to see what you see in the early vote. If you're here, drop me a line. Hey, VCOY, my guy. Yeah, remember VIP. Hey, my guy's in the building. BC, I know, I trust you. Hey, IVK, yo, appreciate it, bro. What's going on over there? How are you doing in the UK? I hear they are locking you guys down. Is it true? If you wear trousers, you must wear belts. You are locked down so much right now. Let me know what's going on, bro. What's happening to the United Kingdom? What's happening to the United Kingdom? What do you guys do? Are they locked down again? Well, Europe is crazy right now. Corona is not playing with anybody. I told you from the beginning of this saga. You guys can be doing your thing. Corona is not playing. Corona is not a political animal. Corona is just out here looking for whom to devour. If we allow ourselves to be devoured, we'll be devoured. Everybody that wants to open up and say, just Corona will not tell you not to open. In fact, open up. Corona will come and catch you in the restaurant. It's mathematics. It's science. You are behaving like, look, oh, let me calm down. LBK is a lie. You guys are open. Okay, I got bad information. That means UK, you guys are free. You're running around anywhere. You're kissing people. You're hugging people. Congratulations. I didn't know. Oh, I think you're not serious. So you mean Corona is here to stay? That's your own idea of everything is okay. You are not all right. God forbid bad thing. As a true Nigerian, you should not be allowing Corona to stay. You have to pray it away. You did. Ladies and gentlemen, this your boy GFK. Drop me a line. America, we're running towards an election. We are rushing towards election. This thing is crazy. It makes no sense. Yo, IBK, it's everywhere, man. This COVID, man, is in fact is alive. This Corona is alive. Even in the places we thought we had beaten Corona, Corona is still showing sample. What's going on, right? And I want to see all the people that say that they will not take vaccine because Bill Gates is doing it. If vaccine come, I'll see whether you take it or not. IBK, but if vaccine come, we'll take vaccine, are we? Just like the flu and all the other things, are we? BCOY, yes, sir. 5 to 6 days to go, bro. YouTube link gotta be put. Please help me, BC. Push it and I'll put it on here, please. You know, I'm still struggling with that. Stacy is in the building. Stacy, Esima. Stacy, which one as planned? I mean, like, you mean the Corona situation? Well, sister, it's not. No, sister, it's not you now. It's all of us. Let me tell you something about this. I personally am upset because when this thing started, we had an opportunity to really come together and fight it and figure it out. Don't get me wrong. Like, everybody's looking at Europe. Europe is getting a resurgence. But let me tell you something. Fight me on this. A resurgence of this thing is better than having never ended the first urgence of it. Let me rephrase that. Nations are experiencing a resurgence of Corona. America never stopped the first wave. That is the problem. That is the issue, right? We never ended the first wave in America. We had spikes and peaks, but we kept on like a hotbed. Now, the nations that closed up, that did all these things, they are seeing a spike. Now, don't get me wrong. It's a horrible thing. Like Europe, France, Germany, they're considering another lockdown. This is one I want you to understand. If lockdowns did not work, right, to affect the spread, nations will not be looking to lockdowns when they have a spike like this. There's something about locking down. Now, that's a different conversation about whether lockdowns are dangerous for the economy, bad for us. Yes, but like everything in life is an opportunity cost. And I don't understand how people are talking and behaving as if we don't understand that. That is what life is. A, B, which one is worse for me? Which one can I do without? Which one will kill me? Because at the end of the day, the scales are going to tip towards how do I stay alive? We have the survival instinct. If you're here, drop me a line. Sisters, listen, you refuse the vaccine. You are strong now. You see, because some of you people, you are young and you have immunity. You don't need vaccine. You yourself, you're a vaccine. For those people, I say congratulations. The problem is all the people around you that you might infect, right? So I hear you. Not everybody will take the vaccine, you know. The lockdown for me is not preferable, it's not desirable, it's not wanted. You guys know all our professions, whether I'm, as an attorney, as an MC, musician, worship minister, All of that stuff, man. This lockdown has this 2020 is a write-off. Yo, 2020 is a write-off. Everything we used to enjoy, we can't do it. We can't do it. And so the question is, what can we give to have our lives? What can we give to be safe? And there's a lot going on. People are talking about, the herd immunity. And I had a conversation online today. Please, so all my people who support herd immunity, when you're advocating herd immunity, complete the cycle. Herd immunity, number one, is not so much something you can deliberately trigger, right? Herd immunity means that you want everyone to catch it. How do we achieve that? Do we go and look for people who are infected and have them sneeze on everybody really quickly? Thank you so much, man. That's my YouTube channel. Election day is going to be hot, hot, hot. Election day, November 3rd, is going to be hot fire on this show, right? We're diving in deep with all the anxiety, all the fear, all the crying, all the laughing. Whatever happens on election day on this show is going to be hot. I need you up here, man. It's going to be on YouTube exclusively. I'm not doing Facebook on that day. Please come follow me onto YouTube. Let's subscribe. Let's fill the page. November 3rd, man. My page is up there. Thank you, BCOY in the building. So, Sister Stacy, like I'm saying, if you have, I have advanced, and my relationships are stronger. Sister Stacy, so the criteria for not taking the vaccine now is what? Relationships. Explain that to me. Damlola is in the building. Damlola from Nigeria. Damlola, how far now? I hope your guys are Damlola, wait. Damlola, before I talk to you. Wait, Damlola, share your palliative. Damilola, let me know which one you took. Did you take rice, beans, motorcycle, or were you among the lucky few that got dollars from the Oba's palace? Damilola, confess here today. Which palliative have you gotten, Damilola? They say they're opening up the storehouse in Nigeria. They are opening up the storehouse, like Joseph did back in Egypt. The grain is available. Are you saying that money is cursed? The guys that took the dollars, are you saying the dollars are cursed? I don't know. When you spend it, will it not spend? People are saying that there's juju on the money. The juju that did not protect the money from being looted. They looted the Oba's money, plus including his staff, and no thunder fired them. That's a problem. That might affect the reputation of the institution. Yo, let me see. Look, let me tell you something about what's going on right now. Nigeria is struggling, right? America is not easy. And okay, Star Stacy, give me. Okay, I say Star Stacy 2020 is not a write-off. So, but you have to explain now. Star Stacy, additionally, why is it not a write-off? For some of us, it is. Because financially, it's a write-off. Going artistically is a write-off. Going to dinnerly is a write-off. So I don't know. I mean, thank God for life. I agree with you on that. We are here. I mean, in many ways, we're able to do things online, right? People are still buying houses to the glory of God. People are still, graduating, doing online stuff. I mean, so you are right in that sense. In fact, I agree with you. The problem is on a larger scale, though, the suffering, I would say, outweighs, some of the benefits that some people are getting, right? Which is why in an economy that looks like it's booming, some people are suffering. Some people are at their worst right now, because you have to think about how we all make money, how we sustain our homes. A lot of families depend on the ability to go out. They depend on the ability of others to go out. Like if you're a vendor, if you're somebody who sells something on the streets of Manhattan, people not being on the streets in Manhattan is a problem. If you're a taxi driver, even if you're an Uber driver, that moment where everybody's staying home, you're losing money. And some of these people are not covered. There's no other way. That's why the stimulus that came early in the year was so needed. And that's why it's a shame that we haven't gotten another stimulus till now. If you're here, drop me a line, drop me a line. Listen, yeah, for holidays, you can't travel. All your travel plans have been curtailed. So there's a lot about 2020 that makes us want to jump to 2021 with hope, right? And that's why I'm talking about vaccines right now. Because if everybody is beginning to say we have to live with it, what you're saying is we can't do anything to prevent the spread, right? If that's the case, then the next thing to talk about is the vaccination, right? That's because that's how we've been able to live with the flu. And that's why it's so annoying, ladies and gentlemen. bringing me to the matter at hand. It's so annoying to have the president of the United States talking about how we are going to have to learn to live with it when he has not done the basic things he needed to do to give us a fighting chance, right? So living with something means that you want to be able to say it's going to be around, but while it is around, we can survive. If you do not give yourself the tools to survive, we're not going to live with it. Everybody just going to die. And that's why it's annoying. It's annoying. America, this president has made America dumber. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's sad. America now looks like a country that has no scientists, right? America has no doctors. America has no researchers. All of a sudden, America doesn't know how to do stuff, right? America is now that nation that nobody is looking to for solutions because we have the highest death rates, and it's annoying. It's annoying. You know what I mean? Like you can't sugarcoat this. A dumb president will cause a smart nation to look dumb. That's it. That's the calculus. You have a president who doesn't know what he's doing, so the whole nation looks dumb. America is not this stupid. I'm telling you, America has never been this dumb. America has issues. Oh, America has had moral corruption issues. America has, invaded nations. You have something. List them. All the evils, all the problems of America, they are real. America knows it. We are never going to talk about the mother of them all, slavery. America knows. America has a dark past and even some questionable present activities. But one thing America has never really been, as in its outward look to the world as a nation, is America has never been so dumb, right? And don't get me wrong, like in every nation, everyone is at different levels on the IQ scale, right? On the range of smartness. I have met people who are smarter than me that make me go, wow, I wish I had that brain, right? So you can tell. But on average, America has been able to produce scientists, novelists, artists, musicians, entertainers, athletes. America has been able to, at the highest levels, produce these guys. We've never really struggled for scientists, for science. Americans have won many Nobel Prizes, many awards for journalism. So America has achievers. Part of it is the brain drain. So America invites a lot of people in, and it gets the benefit of all worlds. So you have immigrants forming Google. This is the first time. Please argue with me if you are here. This is the first time I think that America has looked so dumb. America is looking stupid, y'all. America looks like a fool right now. And it's not fair because there are too many smart people here for America to look this stupid. It's like America doesn't know what to do with a pandemic. America doesn't know how to keep itself safe. America loses over 200,000 Americans are dead within the year. And I will say this again, I always say it. I'm going to give it to you. If you want to say that number is exaggerated, you tell me which number is true. I say 230,000 Americans have died from COVID. You tell me that number is exaggerated. Tell me what the real number is. Let's start with that. And I'll tell you we'll talk about whether that's good, right? It's not the conversation. Drop me a line if you're here. Let me read some of my comments out here. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome. It's the election special. I'm going to get into some numbers and some anxieties. Hey, if you are nervous, I'm nervous. Are you nervous? I'm nervous because everybody knows the only poll that matters is election poll. Everybody knows this. We're all in agreement, right? The only polls that matter are the polls on election, when the ballots are counted. Now I know Donald Trump and his people have done a good job. They've done a great job of convincing Americans, a lot of Americans, that the only ballots that must count must be the ballots we have on November 3rd. This is the first time in America that we're having this issue. This is the first time in America that we're having this issue. Please share this video as you're here with me hanging out. Please, my people, share the video, like the video. I have some NSARS conversation too. This morning, I had an opportunity to be on a panel talking about Nigeria and NSARS movement. What's the next phase? Some revelations. My last show, a lot of people really loved the show. People shared that show like crazy, it got me up to like 700 views like within these 2 days. And I just felt like it's a topic people want to really get into. And one of the things that was very controversial about that topic was the details and information that was coming about how many people died. Did people really die? What's the culpability of the governor in Lagos? What's the culpability of people we call power brokers? What was the culpability of the president? Now, when I did my show, the president hadn't given a speech. No, he gave a speech, but I wasn't able to deal with it as much because I just couldn't handle his speech. But since then, people have commented. So I'm going to get to that in a bit. And we're going to talk about, please subscribe to the YouTube channel right now. Do it for me, man. We're going to, next election night is me and you are hanging out. Now I'm getting popcorn. I'm getting jollof rice. I'm going to mix jollof rice with the popcorn and see what we get. You know, nobody's ever tried it that I know of. It may work out. Now, so let me go. So let me go on this. Thank you, Sister Stacey. Try to keep it balanced. You know, it's always a two-sided situation. You know, my preference is clear, but I cannot argue against rational conversation. If you're making sense, I can't fight you. I can be upset that you are right, but I cannot deny that you are right. That's what I like to go at with these things. So here's the issue. What's the state of the race? Fine. The one thing I want to be clear about is the early voting is a great sign for Joe Biden. Boom. Early voting numbers right now, great for Joe Biden. If we are talking about close to 70 million Americans have early voted. Ladies and gentlemen, that has already matched and exceeded the number of people that voted by election day in 2016. Now, the total number of votes in election day 2016 was about 132 million votes. 132, keep that in mind. 132 million votes in November of 2016. Fine. Now, what we have now is half of that number, a little over half of that number, have voted early. And like I posted last, I said even procrastinators are voting early, which is a big deal. What that means what that measures is voter motivation. Because voter enthusiasm, voter motivation, those are the things that make the difference. In 2016, one of the very effective ways in which Donald Trump was able to clip Hillary Clinton's wings in the swing states where she needed to win was in depressing and suppressing voter turnout. All right. So depressing voter turnout for me is a more legitimate thing. If you don't lie or cheat, which you rarely, you know, there's always lying or cheating. But voter suppression is the illegal thing that bothers me. There's voter suppression going on. There's a lot of voter suppression. But I said something a few months ago. I pleaded with Americans. I said they are trying to suppress your vote. I hope that makes you angry enough to overwhelm them with votes. You see what I'm saying? They try to suppress the votes, but the effect of them suppressing the votes everywhere is for people who did not even want to vote to get angry and say, why are you trying to, I wasn't even trying to vote, but you're out here trying to make it difficult for me to vote. I'm on vote, right? And that's what makes it possible for people to stand for 5, 6, 7 hours on a line. Think about this. This makes no sense, ladies and gentlemen. Americans are used to instant coffee. Americans want their Uber right next on the next block. Americans want things to go like that. Americans don't have the patience, right? But Americans are waiting in line. 9 Americans, 10 Americans, they have hundreds of Americans waiting in line for hours. Ask yourself a simple question: why? Now, let me add to this complexity. If you are here, drop me a line. I see my people dropping in. I see my people. I'm gonna get to some of these things. Like, oh yeah, let me see. Americans are lining up. I voted on Saturday. My wife and I voted. Ladies and gentlemen, when I got to the voting location, now think about what I'm talking about. So voter suppression is leading to people getting upset and turning up because they've reduced the number of polling places. Now, reduction of polling sites in itself is not sinister. It's not evil. Let me explain. We are in a time of this coronavirus, right? So you're trying to limit the number of opportunities that people will have to gather. And, the polling sites are supposed to be, usually you have polling sites where people go and they line up. But the problem is this: you don't have enough people to man enough polling sites. So you have to consolidate your resources. So your poll workers, if you have 20 poll workers and you need 10 in each site, you can only have two poll sites. You follow my logic. So you end up with fewer polling sites so that you can consolidate your resources, do social distancing, make sure everybody's safe, inspect the masks, and just keep it from everybody going out. Now, here's the real criminal thing that Trump has done and his people. And we warned about it and we talked about it earlier. You see, this thing they did by damaging the reputation of the mail-in vote. By damaging the reputation of the mail-in vote, Donald Trump made it so that people had to make a decision where people who normally would have sent in their vote by mail, They now had to decide whether or not they trusted the mail because of the fact that Louis DeJoy became the postmaster general. He started removing mailboxes. He started removing counting machines and sorting machines. He started removing hours of workers. He started doing everything that was to set up this moment we're in now, right? So they sabotaged the mail. I think it's one of the most egregious things that Trump and his people have done. They sabotaged the mail so that you can't trust the mail for your vote anymore. Now, think about it before Trump. And even when Trump first got it, people are voting by some states vote exclusively by mail. Understand when they make this argument about it's too much, some states have done it exclusively, and voting is a state thing. States organize their own voting. So it wasn't logistically, it was doable with the post office the way it was. You would have glitches. You have one of two things, blips here and there. But on the whole, it has always been okay. And even though there was going to be an increased number of voters this year voting by mail because of COVID, it didn't change the fact that all you have to do, which is very sinister, all you have to do is increase the budget for the post office to handle the incoming, right? It's math, it's logistics. What they did was they blocked the funding for the post office because Democrats put the funding in the stimulus package. They did not vote for that. They made it impossible to have any money for the post office. Then they put Louis DeJoy, who began to destroy the post office from within. So they made it a self-fulfilling prophecy. They said mail-in voting is fraudulent. They created the atmosphere to make mail-in voting difficult. Then they turned around and said mail-in voting is difficult. It's a sad, evil thing that they did to America's elections. It's a horrible thing. Of all the horrible things that Donald Trump has done and his administration, this attack on America's right to vote might be one of the most enduring ones. They really tampered with something that was so essential for this country. Nations all around the world used to envy America's elections. Do you understand that? Nations all around the world used to look at America's elections as the stand. America used to send out observers to other nations to help them check out their elections. Under this Donald Trump, everybody in the world is watching America going, wow, this election, it will be a miracle if it is fair. It's so sad. It's so horrible. And I hope Donald Trump pays a price for it. I hope Donald Trump pays a price for it. It's not about it. Look, let me tell you, this is not even about politics at this point. Don't mess with the things that work. Right? Since I've been in this country, and since I've been able to vote, you had the option of sending your vote by mail. You had the option of doing a drop box, right? You have the option in New York, they recently instituted early voting. You can do this, and then you can vote on election day. You see, those options made it easy to vote. There were polling places everywhere. You could get one close to your house. You could vote on your way to work. You could vote on your way coming from work. You know what I'm saying? They made it so that you had no reason, you had no excuse not to vote. In comes Donald Trump to tell you mail-in voting is rubbish. And at the same time, he hasn't done anything to keep you from keep you safe from the coronavirus if you go out to vote. And then he's going to send poll watchers with guns. He's going to tell his people, to become poll watchers and carry guns and intimidate you when you show up. Because everybody knows you're not going to stand there. So see guys, they're not official military men. They're not soldiers. They're not police officers. They're militia guys. You don't know what's going through their minds. And they're supposed to stand in front of the police of the polling station. For what? For what reason? And now we have long lines, 8 hours, 9 hours. I did 4 hours. I count myself lucky to vote, early voting. So it's bittersweet, right? Because on the one hand, it shows that people are desperate to vote. My God, people are voting. They are vexed. People are upset. People are upset. I saw old people on the line. I saw an old couple. This is a winding line I'm talking about. The husband who I presume to be the husband, he would stand, and then after a while he will walk for a bit, and the wife will come and take his place. He would sit, and so people were just desperate. Let me get something. Sister Stacy, please, give me more details. Which part of my statement is speculation? Because you need to break it down, because we're really talking about something serious here. They're attacking the vote, and we are way beyond speculation here. What you are seeing is, I don't have to tell you what I'm telling you, because you are seeing it. The turnout for the votes is the highest ever. And right now, it's an advantage. They've done the math. It's more Democrats voting. That's why the Republicans are now trying to catch up in early voting. They are doing, in some states, they've been mobilizing their people because they were waiting to do a big red wave on election day, like Trump was promising. But they're realizing that if they allow this early voting trend to go without answering it, they're going to end up on election day with such a deficit that their turnout on election day may not match the early votes banked by Democrats. So they're trying to catch up, especially in Florida. You see it in Florida. So I'm not talking out of school. This is not, there's no speculation. Yes, that, you know. Oh, okay, here we go. Sister Stacy, I will show you, I will send you to your page. Donald Trump has told his militia boys that they can be poll watchers. Think about this. They have the right to bear arms. They're already on the street. And now all they have to do is register as poll workers with their political parties. This is not far-fetched. I'm not making this up. Come on, you know me better than that. You know me better than that. They're already showing up on the streets for saying they're protecting lives and property from protesters. Now they've gotten mandates in some of the states to go to show up. And what am I even arguing with you? In 2016, we had them. In 2016, there were militiamen carrying guns near polling booths in some of the states. I think it was Arizona. And that is why they had some members of the Black Panther movement also go to the police station with guns, which now caused the police department to say, all right, everybody with guns leave. I'm not making it, come on. You know this is America? Sister Sissy said there were poll watchers where you went. Which state are you in? I'll fight you. Which state are you? We're not talking about New York or you go down south. They have the right to bear arms, and they're using that right. Now, here's the problem. You have a right to bear arms, but if you use that right to intimidate other people, then it's no longer you expressing your rights. It's not just about having the right. Every right has a responsibility, has an obligation. Your right to bear arms is for the safety and for self-protection and for a well-regulated militia. In a case where you have both the National Guard and a military for the country, in addition to local law enforcement, you do not need a self-regulated militia anymore. That's the problem. You're duplicating those particular offices. And that argument is, we can't have that argument. Thank you, welcome, thank you for being here. You need to be able to give me points. Don't just find something to say. That's not the place for that. You put your points up. The Constitution that gives you the right to, I mean, let's do it. Constitution gives you the right to, it says a well-regulated being necessary for the defense of the nation. The right of the people to bear arms shall not be abridged. There's an addendum to that statement. The right to bear arms is not in a vacuum. It is based on the fact that at the time the Constitution was written, you didn't have a standing army. This is math. This is math. This Trump administration has caused us. Yeah, you see, this is my problem. This is laughable. Find something else to say. You said nothing. And I get it. That's how some people operate. What does the Constitution say about the right to bear arms? I read it to you. Tell me if I'm wrong. No, you won't. You're just saying something is laughable. I mean, it's your right to do so anyway. But if you see me exchanging with someone like Sister Stacy, she's giving me points and I'm responding. If you want that conversation, let's have that. That's why I told somebody, like, there's no point, arguing with Trump supporters anymore. We're done with that. It's a game of numbers now. How many of them are there and how many of the rest of us are here? If there are more of them out there, congrats to Donald Trump. If there are more of us, Donald Trump is out. It's math. If we have enough people voting for Biden in Florida, Arizona, Michigan, swing states, Trump will lose. It's math now. There's no point for the back and forth. Because if at this point, if what you believe is what you believe, what I believe is what I believe. But when I'm talking about things that we can verify, please, let's do that. Let's do that. Sister Stacy, how many Democrats have you seen with guns at polling booths? This is what I'm saying. This is different. This is different. Look, let me tell you something. One of the things that brought us to where we are today is because people were making comparisons between Trump and Hillary that were not accurate. Let me tell you, the Trump administration did a good job, and Russia and everybody and Comey, they did a good job of really wrecking her reputation. They did good. By the time it was election day, you would have thought Hillary was a demon. They did a good job. I'm going to give it to them. That was good work. But the thing that upset me was they tried to equate Hillary and Trump in terms of competence. And I was saying it like, let's say they are both devils. One of them is a more competent devil. The incompetence of Donald Trump has led America to where it is now. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. This is no longer about conversations and arguments. We are seeing it. The turnout in the early voting has never, the young people have never voted like this. There's a reason. It's not argument. You can argue with me, but go outside and see what people are doing. Okay, let's go. Let's go. You know, this is what I like. So this is what I'm like. Voting is a personal, not emotional. That's wrong. That is entirely wrong. That is entirely wrong. Voting is not, voting is exactly emotional. Are you serious right now? Are you serious? Do you realize that when you shout MAGA and when you wear the hat, your entire soul is in it? What are you talking about? It's entirely emotional. But the mistake I think you're making, forgive me, is that you think that because something is emotional, you cannot make rational decisions about it. And I challenge that. I can be emotional about you. I can cry when I tell you you're wrong. Do you understand what I'm saying? I can reasonably tell you that you're wrong, even though I love you. I can hold an intervention for you because I love you and emotionally invested, but I can tell you what you're doing is wrong. I can tell you don't buy that house, even though I love you. I want you to have a house. I'm emotionally invested in you having a home, but I can tell you, there's lead paint in there. You can do that. We do that all the time. All right. It's not a question of either personal or emotional. It's mixed. Right? People who vote for Donald Trump because they don't want abortions and they want you to bring the Supreme Court. That's invested in them. It's not. You see, that's what I'm saying. When we have full conversation, you can be emotional. Do you know why? Because we are emotional. It's a false argument when you tell people not to be emotional. The question is, do not let your emotions cloud your judgment. Two different things. That's my point. Yeah, I don't need to tell you who I voted for, but here's the deal. I'm very logical and I vote based on how it affects me and my investments. You are invested and you are emotional about your investments. You want them to grow. That's exactly what emotion is. What your emotions are tied to might be different from what my emotions are tied to, but you're voting based on interest. Interest and emotion are very much alike. This is the thing. You see, don't go with me on this. I want to work with you on this. As human beings, the aspects of our lives are not walled off by barriers, right? Our emotional side, our financial side, our spiritual side, if you have one, they're part of a mix. They're part of a mix. It's a fallacy. It's a false choice. You just told me what moves you, right? How it affects you. You see, the effect itself is an emotional word. How it affects you financially, investment wise, you're exactly right. And you have every right to go there. What I'm saying is when you're evaluating your options for voting, you need to be able to say, okay, fine, this is why I'm voting for this guy. But my problem with a lot of people is, let me reverse. I am worried that Joe Biden is too old. I am worried about his health. I am worried that for a man of his age, cognition might be an issue. You see what I just did there? I'm giving you an honest assessment of what I'm worried about with Joe Biden. I am not worried about Joe Biden when it comes to how he will deal with the pandemic. Why? I believe he's likely to just listen to the scientists and work with them and figure it out and maybe even pay attention to what other countries are doing that are working. Trump, I am worried that the fundamental issue is that his narcissism makes it difficult for him to ever listen to any other voice but his. That has been proven time and time again. I am worried that there's a selfishness to this man that makes it difficult for him to think of others. I am worried that when his supporters go to his rally in Nebraska in the freezing cold, which he himself said was freezing, and he said he wanted to get out. When he left and they were stranded because of traffic, logistics, I don't even blame his team for what happened to the people that were stranded, because logistics are not, you can't count, or sometimes it goes wrong. You see, I'm reasonable enough to say that. What I will tell you is, upon hearing that the people that came to your rally got stranded in the cold and couldn't get home, Donald Trump did not spare a tweet to apologize to them. Those are the little clues I'm looking for. There's no humanity there. There's no empathy there. And in my estimation, you need someone who can feel the people's pain. Some of the things that Donald Trump does that people love him for are not, and you can clearly see that he's doing it because he found out that some people would cheer if he says it. That's why he says most of the stuff he says. He wants to know whether you applaud, whether you shout, you clap. That's all. He lives for the accolades. We know that about him. So the things you know about these people, don't, this is my problem. You can vote for them, but don't deny what you know. I just told you some things about I told something about Biden that I'm worried about, but I weigh them against the other things that I have to think about, which is right now we need a leader in this country who is going to take a fresh look at the issue of the coronavirus. That's all. We need a fresh look. We need a fresh look. Whatever this guy is doing is not working. That's math. And so if I consider that to be the primary issue, and let me even say to you, your investments and all the other things you care about, a lot of that will depend on what happens long term to this economy. Tell me if I'm wrong. You might be more into investments, and you can correct me. But my little understanding as an attorney who's done some corporate work and all that is, you need an economy within which your investments can grow. That's the irony of it. That's why the stock market is wobbling. It has nothing to stand on. The stock market was waiting for the stimulus check. It never came. The politics ties into it. Europe is shutting down again. That's what happens to nations. You're going to open up because you're tired of hearing about COVID, and you're going to shut down again. You're going to shut down again. And this time, you're not going to have the kind of shutdown you can handle. It's going to be the kind of shutdown that you're forced to do because your ambulances will be racing through the streets. We've seen this movie before. Why are we going into it again? Let me get your point in here. So my friend owned 18 oil wells, and he's a Democrat. He waited his vote overnight after he heard fracking. So I don't like to talk about parties. Just vote based on what's important to you. You're exactly right. The only thing is, you vote based on what's important to you, you end up favoring one party or another. That's the unfortunate. And I feel your pain I feel you on that, because I feel like if there was options, we could probably do better. But if you vote what you feel, one party is going to benefit from your decision. Even if you vote independent, if you vote third party, one party is going to lose your vote, and one party is going to be grateful that you didn't vote for someone. So I'm saying, and that's why the stock market is doing amazing because the economy came out of a recession. I'm not going to sit here and I don't know if you forgot about 2008. I'm not going to forget. This is what amazes me. People want to credit Trump with a 4-year, boom. Did you forget what happened in 08? Did y'all forget how Barack Obama became president? I didn't, because I started my law practice around that time, and I had to I wish I didn't. Why are we out here? We don't change the storyline. When Trump took office, unemployment was 4.1. He moved it down to 3.5. Congrats. Barack Obama took it from 10. But the problem with Barack is he never celebrated it. I'm mad at him for that. He didn't throw parties each time he moved the stock market up, or each time he got unemployment down 1%. He didn't celebrate it. That's why he looks like a loser now. And Donald Trump, who knows how to celebrate every little victory, is doing well. Congrats to him. The GDP went up today. I'm glad about it. Good job. But I'm sitting here gonna watch you guys not take care of the coronavirus and think you're going to be having your GDP going up. This is math. We know what's going to happen. Of course you grew plus 125 today. What I'm talking about, how do we keep that? How do we keep that growth? How do we not have the dips and the uncertainty? Even the stock market is a measure of that. The uncertainty is what makes the stock market shiver. And you can correct me. I'm here to learn. So I'm saying the stock market is, but you can't have uncertainty in government. You can't have uncertainty when it comes to the coronavirus and think that whatever gains you've made today are going to stand. We've been wobbly. And the recovery we're talking about is a recovery from before COVID. It's not extra. We're getting back some of the jobs we lost when COVID first came. The question is, a place like New York, right? You're talking about recovery. One of the reasons you have that is because of a state like New York having gone back to work a little bit. Florida opened up recklessly and they shut down recklessly. They opened up again recklessly. Watch. Ambulances are racing through in Texas. This is obvious. All right. Toho, you see me congratulate Trump on moving the unemployment rate from like 4.1 to 3.5. That's congratulating. What I'm mad at is the credit he's getting when the same group of people will tell you that Barack Obama was a failure in the economy and never consider the fact that he took the unemployment rate. You see, where you're taking something from has a bearing on how far you can take it. And I don't know if that's wrong. If you take unemployment from 10% to 4.1, even if it's 8 years, prorated, right? And you're considered a failure and a loser, slowest recovery, and you take 4.1 to 3.5, and you're celebrated as a superhero? Come on. Now, talk to me. How is that fair? How does that make sense? Not to mention, if you do the heavy lifting of building an economy back from a recession, a worldwide recession, you get no credit for that. But if you inherit a recovery, they said it was a slow recovery. I don't argue that. Maybe it was, but you inherited a recovery, and then you were able to boost it, and I congratulate you for that. But this thing where you're juxtaposing that, making it look like Superman came to the building when he actually got on the ride when the train was on the way up. Look at the graphs. There are graphs to show you the stock market, everything was on the way up. The acceleration that the Trump administration, I wouldn't even argue with you on that. But why are we making it sound like he took us from a recession into surplus? That's not true. That's not true. You know, and Shegun's here. Yeah. You check your gains in a few hours. It's nosediving again. Come on, sister. First of all, I hope you stay with me because I love having this conversation. I appreciate you. You know, I love these conversations. It keeps me honest. I'll be honest. Sister Tohon, I'm glad you're here. It keeps me honest. I can't just spew stuff. Sister Stacy will check me. People will check me. I like that. But there's some fundamentals I think we should agree on. And what I'm loving right now is, what I'm loving right now is the fact that we moved past argument. Sister Stacy, we've moved past the argument. We're now into practicals. I told everybody not to even think about the polls because the polls, we all know how they are. But one thing you can't ignore is voting. When people are voting in the large numbers they're voting, then ladies and gentlemen, we have something. There's something happening. Something's going on. If Texas is in play, even on the poll, don't forget, no, people like to mess with the polls are rubbish. I get you. And I will not be the one to tell you that you're wrong because I'm going to wait till the elections to get the polls that I want, right? But there's only so much you can say polls are rubbish, polls are rubbish, polls are rubbish. People are now voting early, and you're seeing the early vote mirror the polls. There's only so much you can say about how polls are rubbish when the actual voting is beginning to trend with the polls. I would never be the one to sit here and say, oh, Donald Trump is going to lose because guess what? We all know game day is the only day that matters at this point. But I am telling you that there's something out there where a lot more people now are looking at some of the same things we're looking at and are deciding that this is not how it's supposed to work. America doesn't look good right now. America does not look good. And I told somebody, okay, BC got me on here. So now I'm going to share some reporting on some of the polls. And I'm going to see if we can take it from there. So let me share a few videos and breakdowns of some of the polls. You know what? Let me try with the early voting first and show you what I'm talking about. Early voting, I have a few of them. I wanted to show one that had the youth vote, which is crazy right now. I mean, the young people are losing it right now, and they're out here voting like crazy. So let me do this. Let me do this. I'm gonna do this for you. So we have early voting with the young people. Let me see if I got the right one here. All right, give me my bad. Let me take this out. So the early voting is a major part of the conversation, and that's why I told people it's time to stop. It's time to stop, arguing. It's just time to pay attention. Let me see. Okay. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, just having a little glitch situation. All right. I'm about to get it. Sorry about that. All right. All right. All right. Let me bring this back. All right. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're here, drop me a comment. We're talking about the elections. We're talking about early voting, and I wanted to get some information here. BC said instead of me just saying it, I should show it. So I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna show that right now. All right, here we go.
We are looking at huge turnout and massive lines in places where early voting is an option. That includes Texas and Georgia, and both of those states are predicted to be closely fought for the first time in decades. They're also dealing with allegations of voter suppression. Omar Villafranca is at a polling location in Dallas, Texas. Omar, good morning to you. What are voters telling you?
Good morning. Some people are telling me they vote early because they want to watch all the election results come in on election day. And some people also feel so passionate about this election they didn't want to wait. In fact, one county in Texas had about the same amount of early voters as the whole state of Georgia on its first day. Long lines greeted Texans looking to vote early in the Lone Star State.
This is probably the most important election I've ever been a part of, and I want to know that my vote's going to be counted, so I came out the first day.
Why wait till last minute? I don't procrastinate.
One reason for the long lines, roughly 3 million new voters have registered since the last presidential election. In Travis County, where the city of Austin is, officials say 97% of eligible voters have registered, compared with an average of about 67% nationwide. In Harris County, more than 128,000 voted early, smashing the old record of 68,000. But a federal appeals court sided with Republican Governor Greg Abbott to limit the number of drop-off locations to 1 per county. Abbott said it was needed for election security, but Harris County Judge Lena Hidalgo calls it voter suppression.
I don't see a legitimate reason. I think it's completely illogical.
You're my first call.
Famous faces like Oprah Winfrey and Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban were busy urging Texans to get out and vote.
If you haven't voted early yet, come down to the AAC.
At the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, almost 3,000 people voted early, with lunchtime voters in and out in about 20 minutes. But elsewhere in Georgia, technical glitches and high turnout have led to some wait times of more than 5 hours. CBS News election law expert David Becker.
They're coming with stools and they're coming with snacks and they're coming with books and they're ready. They want to make their voice heard.
Polls open in less than an hour here in Texas, and there's already a line forming behind me here. In Virginia, Tuesday was the final day for voter registration, but a cable was cut and the whole system was shut down statewide. The ACLU has filed a lawsuit. They want to extend that deadline, and the governor agrees with it, but it appears it will be up to the courts. Gail?
Can you imagine the
Ladies and gentlemen, drop me a comment over here. So I'm gonna come in now. So thank you, BC, for reminding me to just play the video, play the tape. BC is like, play the tape, stop talking, play the tape. So you see the video. The early voting is crazy, even in Texas. And the last story we heard there about they cut some wires to shut down the early voting. The shenanigans are already taking place because it's a threat. The early voting is a threat now. And that's why it's not a question of conversations and arguments anymore. And we just have to, and that's why I say it's not a time for argument anymore. Everyone that wants to vote, just go and vote. My advice is to wait as late as you can if you're uncertain. I know people have voted and now want to change their vote. If you're voting, if whatever you're changing your vote for right now, the problem I have with people is that means my question to you is you've not been paying attention. You've not been paying attention. If you've been paying attention, then you've made your mind, you've made up your mind based on information that's solid. You see, that's the unfortunate thing about it. You will always have last minute information, and many times it's not verified. You raised something. I don't want to really go into this, but I really appreciate Tohon being on here. So I'm going to give her, my people are vexing because me and Tohon are having a personal conversation. You guys are my guys. You're here. Me and Tohon are talking today. So Tohon said the issue, for instance, going about, information that was containing Biden's information, UPS that was stolen from a train that was going to Fox. Let me breathe. Let me say that again. There's an allegation or report that there was some mail, UPS mail, containing damaging information about Joe Biden that was on its way to Fox, but it disappeared. It got stolen. Something happened to it. I want to ask you to please help me figure this out. Am I supposed to presume what's in the mail? Am I supposed to just believe this story that it was stolen? Am I supposed to believe that it was stolen before it got to Fox? Am I also supposed to believe whatever is in that mail without verification? You see, because the unfortunate thing is for Fox and Donald Trump, they've been peddling stories about Hunter and Joe. They've been doing a good job. I'm not even mad at them. They were really good with the Hunter thing. It was enough intrigue to make people wonder. And my problem is Joe Biden has been in politics 47 years, like Donald Trump reminds us. The only thing you have against him is something about Biden, Hunter, and Ukraine. That makes me want to vote for him more. Because if his whole resume leads you to only this thing, that means the rest of it is decent. You couldn't find other stuff. You're trying to attack his son that had a drug problem. Oh, you just confirmed to me that Joe is a good guy. Most politicians have 10, 15, 20,000 skeletons in their cupboard. The GOP and Fox News and Rudy, hands down my pants, Giuliani are all on this laptop and these emails with Hunter and Ukraine and Burisma. Look at this. This is it. It's not even a direct hit on Joe. It's an indirect hit through his son. My goodness, that's desperate. You guys are struggling. On the other hand, Mr. grabbed them by the crutch. I have a secret account in China. I didn't pay taxes. I paid off a porn store. My lawyer went to jail. My NSA went to jail. And my campaign manager went to jail. And, oh, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Dude with the thing with the son with the drugs and maybe smoking crack. So I love this. I got to admit that neither of them are good guys. We're starting. So me and you are friends. That's my issue. But one of them is a gooder guy than the other. Taking poetic license. This is the argument I had about Hillary. You have horrible people. Fine. I don't really believe that, but I'll concede it for the sake of the conversation. I don't want to get lost in trying to defend Joe Biden as a saint because he's not. But you have to always compare foibles, right? You compare detriments. You compare the thing about each of them that makes them, an option or not. The problem is, if all we're talking about with Joe Biden is something that his son did, that maybe he peddled his influence in an election against Donald, his son-in-law and his daughter are in the White House, Trump. How do we get here? In what world is that? Is that a comparison? You see, before Trump, we used to be able to have these conversations and we understood things and we agreed. Before Donald Trump, we could say if one politician hired his son and his daughter, his son-in-law and his daughter to be part of his administration, and they have businesses where they get to meet with Chinese government officials while they have businesses in China and they're getting patents approved in China for their products while they're having state conversations. That is what corruption looks like. That's what nepotism looks like. And then you have this guy who says he had a meeting with the head of Burisma that Hunter introduced his friend who worked for Burisma to his father, who was the vice president. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not a fair comparison. So we start from a place of saying, trust no politician, but verify all of them. And this is the issue I have, And so when you're right, everyone just vote, what you said. But the reason why we're having a show, having a conversation, as human beings, we debate things. We talk to each other. We try to figure out what the other person is thinking. Maybe we got it wrong. And that's what I'm trying to say. Not good. Yeah, no, nah, you can't. Nobody. So are you telling me, they're both like mathematically, they're both as evil as each other? Is that something you can measure? That to a precise point, accurately 50% good, 50. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. And at the end of the day, you got to put people's history and resume on a scale and put their results on a scale. And you're going to have to do the math and factor in a lot of things. And that's the problem. And look, we're having this conversation, and I love it because it's stimulating. But the truth is, people out there voting now will find out. The sad truth about your conversation with me is this. The sad truth is this. You see, now, that's what I'm saying. They are both immoral. Which one of them slept with a porn star? Which one of them is on his third wife? I mean, come on. Come on. Don't do that. Everyone has a level of immorality. As Christians, we pray for God to remove the immorality, impurity in our lives, not because we don't have them. Trump took out an ad to execute 5 black boys, and then when we found out they were innocent, he still said they deserve to die. That is infinitely worse than saying a black man speaks well. Look. So I'm still going to argue with you on this. Logic is not always devoid of sentiment. Logic should supersede sentiment, but sentiment is built on past experiences. It informs logic. Sentiment informs logic. It is what causes a firefighter, to break through a house with fire, people dying inside. It's not logical to enter a burning building, but there's a sentiment that I will save the lives of those people in there. That's how human beings Have you watched the movie, which one is Will Smith, AI or whatever? It was an argument about whether or not if we let robots and computers decide who to save, they'll do the mathematical calculation of who to deliver. But we don't want that because we want the human factor. You can't, I'm not gonna let you get away with that, Tohon. You cannot do that. You cannot at the same time argue that they're equally immoral and then come at me and tell me, oh, that was his past. No, we're measuring that. We're measuring that immorality because that's all we can do. We're not going to just assume everybody is a devil and then vote for just anyone. No, everyone has different, as a matter of fact, and your immorality will speak to the job you're looking for. If my problem is that I'm not diligent, it will affect the kind of jobs I can do. If you're somebody whose history shows that you will do anything to please yourself, then when you run for office, we get to ask you about that. Let's put it on. If you slept with 10 people versus someone else who slept with 100, it doesn't make you better. That's not the question. The question is, when you were sleeping with 100, if you slept with 10 people, but you were married, why you did it, and the other dude is a single dude like Derek Jeter hooking up with every supermodel, different conversation, right? Because probably he didn't hurt someone the way you did. No, it's not based on assumption. Come on now. He paid the lady. Donald Trump paid the lady money to shut up about the thing. What are we talking about? Somebody went to jail for this, Tohon. Remember Michael Cohen? Remember him? He went to jail for this. These are not speculations. These are things that have been prosecuted. The only thing saving Trump is that he's president. It's not an assumption. And it's not an assumption, bro. So you know Donald Trump is exactly like, he bragged about that stuff on Howard Stern, man. Come on, man. He used to live like that. That was his thing. Playboy Mansion, Studio 54. He bragged about that joint. Come on now. You're not making it up. He's confessed it. He loves it. Forget about the Access Hollywood tape where he says he grabs women. Let's say he was joking. People have come out and say, yeah, he grabbed me. Okay, listen, I want to see you on my show every day, man. You got my other people upset. They're not even talking no more. But so I love that conversation. So listen, my thing is this. We talked about the early voting. I want to tell people this. Early voting is important, but early voting in the swing states is going to be pivotal. It's going to be major. So we're going to be looking at that as of next week. What's the trend like? What's it looking like in the swing states? Yeah, man. Yeah, Taiwo is here. Taiwo is in the building. Taiwo Falike, good to see you. Yeah, so early voting is coming up, and the issue is this. We're looking at polls in Florida. We're looking at polls in Wisconsin. We're looking at polls in Michigan, Pennsylvania. Right now, it's looking like the Trump campaign might be turning their back on Wisconsin. Wisconsin is the gap in Wisconsin is looking serious. Part of that is because there's a spike in coronavirus in Wisconsin, and we've seen a trend. Wherever you see the coronavirus, spiking, there tends to be a shift in kind of the political atmosphere away from Trump. And that's why, you know, the rallies he's having is a very risky thing. On the one hand, he does well at rallies. The man does well at rallies to the extent that it brings his people out and they're passionate. On the other hand, he also awakens everyone else who is upset with him to look at him bringing people into crowds. And, you know, there's been some lagging indicators of some of his rallies. There's been some of his rallies that have led to increases in COVID-19 cases. Now, there are two ways to look at that. Most of Trump supporters at this point don't care if COVID-19 increases. As a matter of fact, they're ready to live with it. There's a lot of them who they will tell you, they've interviewed these people at the rallies, and they tell you they don't care if they catch it. Many of them say, you know, I'll be fine. It's just a fever. It's just a flu. So that's how they see it. The issue is the people around, other people in the neighborhood, the older people, people with pre-existing conditions, they're upset because for them, it's like you're just not thinking about them at all in this equation. And, you know, Trump himself has said it many times that, oh, clap for the young people. They have a strong immune system. And every time he says that, it makes like older people or people with compromised immunity think that they are not worth it. And, from a political point of view, political point of view, man, I'm thinking, go ahead, Trump, do you. More rallies, more super spreader events, get more people infected. Is going to wake up. Your base is going to be up there, but everyone else is also watching. So I'm gonna look at it that way. But the truth is, it's a bad sign for the country if we're in the flu season and we're worried about coronavirus getting worse and we're having people gather, so closely packed. But we're supposed to look at that and say, oh, that's because, we're going to live with it. It's a big issue. And at no point, and I told someone this a couple of months ago, we were arguing when coronavirus first came up. He said, coronavirus is not going to be an issue. So he said it wouldn't be the controlling issue. What tends to happen is now coronavirus is like the only thing that people care about because it's surging. It's coming back. And the attacks on the governors and what they're trying to do is not helping because most people realize that governors are just trying their best. Governors are the ones who really care about their people the most, right? Because they're closer to the people and they can lose their job next election cycle, no problem. Like mayors and governors, their jobs are not secure at all if the people get upset enough, right? So the issues for me is like the voting right now is a signal that people are voting in line with how they feel in terms of, and that's why I was saying with Tohan earlier, you're not gonna like tell me about voting not being emotional. You're not. People are emotional about this. That's just the way life is. If you care about something, your emotions are tied into it. It doesn't mean you can't make smart decisions. It doesn't mean you can't be logical about what you do. But underneath the logic is a result. You're trying to get to a result. That result is tied to an emotion. And I want to get rich because I feel like I'm going to be happy with more money. Now, the strategy of how I get rich has to be logical, sensible. I got to put things in place. I got to calculate. But that doesn't change the fact that I'm trying to get to a point where I can be happy. Joy, that's an emotion. So, if I'm angry with you, I'm going to vote because I'm mad at what you did. A lot of women voted in 2018 to put in a Democratic Congress because of what happened with the kids and the separation at the border. That was emotional. It was visceral. That's where Trump lost a lot of the suburban women. That's my point about emotion and voting. It's not like it's a cake. You can't separate the egg from the butter. All right. A lot of people got upset. Immigration is an emotional issue. It's emotional. Economics is emotional. If I can't feed my family, that's emotional. And if I vote based on that knowledge that one of these candidates is going to help me achieve my goals of feeding my family, that there's an emotion underneath it. It produces a logical, self-preserving result, but there's an emotion. Human beings are made up of sentiment. We're made up of sentiment. We move. We do these things based on sentiment. But the difference is, can you be logical while you are sentimental? You are both at all times. The question is to let one of those personalities handle the things that require logic and let the sentiment handle the things that require sentiment. It doesn't mean at any point that either of them are missing, right? So right now we're having these votes come out. Now, the big challenge right now, there's something emerging. Florida is turning out to be all end all. A lot of the models for the victory in 2020 depend on Florida. If Biden can take Florida away from Trump, listen to this carefully. There are many scenarios in which November 3rd night, we will not know the winner. There are many scenarios in which, and that's one of the scariest things, because Donald Trump is planning to end the voting on November 3rd and invalidate all the mail and everything that comes afterwards, which is ridiculous, unconstitutional in my opinion, which is not normal. We never do it. We still keep counting. There were elections that go on. We count them because, you know, once you postmark by the day of the mail, that's what happened in Pennsylvania. The court basically affirmed the decision of the lower court that if people postmark their mail-in ballots before election day, even if that ballot arrives after election day, it should still be counted, right? Brother Austin is in the building. Yeah, he wants, you know, suburban women to like him again. He lost them, and he lost them on an emotional issue. Kids in cages. It was easy. I predicted it. I'm like, yo, this is good. I'm like, yo, Donald, do that. When Jeff Sessions announced the separation policy, I said, yes, do it. It's horrible for the kids, but on the long run, it's going to be good for the kids, because if they vote him out, Joe Biden is likely to give them kids green cards to say we're sorry, right? That's the unfortunate part of it. But when Donald Trump did that, I was like, yeah, do you? That's why I'm always upset when people keep Donald Trump from his worst instincts, because those are the people that make it difficult for the rest of America to see him for who he is. There are a lot of times that Donald wants to do stuff, but people tell him don't do it because they know it's going to be bad for him. Sometimes he listens, sometimes he doesn't. I'm upset with those people because they keep him from doing his thing. Guys, like turnouts be like June 12 in Nigeria. Yes, people are vexing. People are vexing. And someone asked me the other day, said, look, there's a lot of Trump supporters out there in their trucks, in their rallies. They seem like there's more of them than of us. And I said, they seem to be excited. They're an excited bunch. Everyone else is angry. That's the difference. Listen, man, fracking, I hear you. Fracking is a big deal. Listen, and you're right to have it as an issue. I'm just saying that, you know, the election is about that. Those who care about fracking and those who care about other things. I'm my bet, and that's why I want us to finish it out like this. My bet is that there are more people who are worried about COVID than the number of people who are worried about what happens with fracking. That's my bet. I placed that bet in April when it first started, and so far it's looking like it's still an issue. And because the point is fracking, no fracking, the economy, the stock market, schools, jobs, restaurants, sports, everything is tied into this conversation of whether or not we'll ever be open again, like for real open, right? So, and I keep saying this, every attempt to solve economic problems by stepping over COVID as if it doesn't matter is going to end up in failure. You're going to meet COVID in your economy. There were parts of Europe that were so excited that they brought their curve down. They opened up the bars and the restaurants and the gyms. France, Germany, they're rushing everything to a lockdown now. COVID is not paying attention to your politics. How many times I got to say this? You got to face it squarely. I love the fact that Donald Trump and his team are pushing the scientists to get the vaccine out. I love that, because that's a more sensible approach to this. In the meantime, the failure is his war against mitigation, his war against the mask, his war against social distance. Him fighting that war is what's baffling. Because until you get the vaccine, the best bet you have now is to do these situations to make it difficult for the disease to transmit across the land. Your herd immunity, you can even experiment with that once you have a vaccine, right? Because if most people can go get the vaccines, even if they catch the disease, the hope is the vaccine makes it difficult for the disease to do any harm. So you can have everybody, most people catch it and still keep the death rate low. You don't advocate for herd immunity before you have the vaccine, because you're gambling. You're trying to find out how many of us will survive, how many will die if we all get it. That's not sustainable, because nobody wants to lose their family members. And there are people who think they're strong enough to beat Corona, and they will find out the hard way that they're not. You don't play games with people's lives, you know? And that's you're right. It depends on, and all we're saying is that there are two sides of the equation. Right now, there are two options to vote for mainly. There are other third-party candidates. You can always do that. Everyone has a right and a voice. But I'm betting that a lot more people are upset about how COVID has been handled, and they're going to vote based on that. And that's I mean, it's something I've said from the beginning, because I've just understood one thing: human life will always be the priority. Human life will always be the priority for most people. Why? Because human life is something that we all have, that we all more or less cherish and want to preserve. So I mean, I may not care about you, but if there is a disease that you can catch and give to me that can kill me, I want that disease dealt with. I may not even like you, bro, but I don't want you catching COVID, just on the off chance that you and I work together and I could catch it from you, right? So that instinct, the survival instinct, self-preservation, I suspect will motivate a lot of people to, nah, man, you can't be dealing with this disease like this. You can't even protect yourself from catching it, and you got all these doctors surrounding you to get you better. We don't have that out here. Number one. Number two, the next category is people who care about their family members. I don't want my family to catch it. I don't want to give it to my family. And yeah, you got mouths to feed, but the problem is it won't matter if everybody's dead from COVID. Ask Europe, man. We're way past arguing this. We are way past. Europe opened up because they were doing better. They opened up because the lockdown was bad for the economy. They're locking down. It's math. You're gonna lock down again. You're gonna lock down. That was the mentality of Florida Governor DeSantis. Liberate Florida. He opened up. He shut down in a hurry. Now he opened up again, and he's spiking again. And I want to see how long he wants to play this game, because it's not smart to ignore the elephant in the room. It's never been smart. We've been at this since what, February? We've learned nothing. New York City is doing okay. Why? We shut down like crazy. It was bad for our economy. Restaurants are hurting. People are losing a lot. I just started up the show by saying, like 2008, I opened up my law practice at the wrong time. I had to adjust so much just to get back up. So you lose that. But underneath that is you don't want to die. Number one. The number two is everything we're trying to open up, we can't open them up till we find a reasonable way to handle this. In New York, they have blended learning. Some of the kids are going to school with masks, right? Because of that mask, you can go out a little bit, right? You can do things, and you can distance. You can not more than 25 people. You need to be, I said it at the beginning, you can open up, but let it be so smart. So can you reduce the danger, you reduce fatality, you reduce, the chances of you having to rush back in. All right. So the truth is, very few people, compared to 200,000 people are dead from coronavirus in America. I don't know what the numbers are on the number of people that have starved to death at home. I don't know what the numbers are. You might be right. But I don't think there's 200,000 people dead yet. So it still comes back to what we said at the beginning. It's math. It's math. You say people die from starvation. You know what would solve that? A stimulus package for now, which they failed to do. The first time they did it, it helped that people got food. You can solve that, right? You can solve that. The hunger, you can solve that. Food pantries, stimulus checks. You can solve that. The COVID thing has no solution yet. And so when we're asking, and let me finally say this, no, if that's already in place, then we're not starving. No, it's not in place. If you're talking about the mitigation, no, that's precisely what we're arguing. What we're arguing is that you have an administration that has done everything it can to oppose all the mitigation methods. I've never seen an administration like this that goes to war against its scientists. We've never seen this before. We've never seen this before. Europe is struggling right now, but they're still doing better than us. Why? They listened to their scientists early. They were not involved in this, it's all a hoax conversation. See, that's where we lost time. Yeah, New York moved to Texas. That's right. Even though it's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's not the situation. New York is New York is bursting at the seams. Population control in New York. We have too many people here. That's the problem. So listen, if more people went to Texas, maybe we have more room. It's not happening yet. I tell you that. You know? Yo, listen. No, that's which favorite which favorite phrase? I mean, the truth is the man has been out here just calling it all kinds of things. And now he said we've rounded the corner. And it's not true. This is the thing that upsets me. When you tell people you've rounded the corner on it, that it's going down, you're telling them to come out and not to worry about the distancing, not to worry about, and you're showing that at your rallies. Forget about what he's saying, it's what he's doing. He's packing people up at rallies, and they're beginning to find that those rallies are leading to small communities because it's math. When he got corona, it was predictable. It was predictable. His whole White House got it. So corona doesn't care. It's gonna catch you if you disregard. You know. You can't say, "Oh, come on to what we're watching." Look, I'm gonna show you in the video. This dude left. This dude had people stranded at Nebraska after his rally. He didn't even bother to like apologize. That's the kind of person he is. That's the kind of person he is. You know? Yeah, Joe Biden says, "Oh, come on. Oh, come on." Like, yeah, there's some things that we can argue. There's some things we're watching. Dr. Fauci, okay, let me put it this way. Do you know better than Dr. Fauci on how Trump has treated Dr. Fauci? I don't think so. So what does Dr. Fauci say? Fauci said Trump hasn't been to a meeting about the coronavirus in months. You don't know better than him. This is my issue. Donald Trump's niece, Donald Trump's sister, Donald Trump's right, BC playing peekaboo with Corona and Corona showing up. Like, and they're shocked. Donald Trump's niece, his sister Mary, right? His chief of staff Kelly, his national security advisor, what do they call him? What's the name of the Mad Mike? All of them have come out and told you the same thing about him. People who work for him, they know him better than everyone. They work for him. They resigned, they were fired, they left. They know his niece knows him better. His mom, his sister knows him better. And they've all told you the kind of person he is, but you don't want to hear them. You don't want to believe them. But that's on you. It's your right to do it. But you know you're on thin ice when you're trying to ignore what everybody knows about this guy. He's incompetent and he's selfish. And those two things are bad for this moment in America. So here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, now I wanted to spend some time on NSARS Nigeria, just to let people know, we're still on that. We're still trying to figure out what's next in Nigeria. And I always say this, I'm humble enough to say I defer to those who are on ground in Nigeria to know better as to what's going on with the movement, and many of us have seen the videos of the looting of the palliatives. Okay, all right. I'm gonna go with this. I love this. What solutions can Biden bring just for those who are still indecisive? The first thing, it's weird. I'm nobody on this. I'm just a dude in his house, just ranting in his basement. But in February, March, we said this is a national problem. Don't allow the states to try to figure it out on their own, because the virus will move from state to state. I argued with someone online when I said that, and they told me no, this and that, and then later on, you were right. No, you could foresee it, right? So here's my point: Biden will make it a national conversation, like he's promised, and because that's what a normal person would do. Biden is no Superman, but he's normal. What a normal person would do is to call all the governors together. Trump literally told us he was upset with some governors, so he stopped talking to him. And he mocked Pence for talking to him. Like, Pence, Mike is nice, he's still talking to him. This is what I'm talking about. No, just on that. No, don't talk to me now. Talk to me just on that. In the middle of a pandemic crisis of this, Trump is having personal beef. This is the problem with this man. It's all like, I'm angry at you, so I'm not gonna help you. That's not a presidential mindset at all. He's a man full of vendetta. Can't let anything go. He doesn't know when to fight you and when to just leave you and help you. He can't do it. We don't need that kind of person for a time like this. You need a governor, you need a president. That's my point. You need a president that's going to talk to all the governors. That's the first part of the conversation. What are you talking about? This is what Biden will do. He will listen to all the governors. Yo, you're not connecting my thread because you don't want to hear it. Biden will first of all collect all the governors and have a unified response. That's what he would do. One. The second thing he would do, he wouldn't put Fauci on the web to be looking for places to talk. He would bring Fauci back to the White House to brief everyone because Fauci is the #1 epidemiologist we have. You need people. Dr. Trump is currently listening to Scott Atlas, who's a radiologist, has nothing to do with viruses. So 2, Biden would listen to people who actually deal with viruses. That might help, right? That might be something that might be good, right? Good. 3, Biden would push for a national mandate on masks. May not get everybody to wear it, but at least there'll be a uniformed and unified voice coming from the top, working with the governors. More of us will probably wear the masks instead of having a mask denier in chief. 3, right? 4, Biden would be the one to enforce, to at least get the governors to enforce social distancing, not as a one-off, not as you distance over there, we gather over here, just a national movement. And like he said, you may not have to lock down the country if you follow the steps, if you're uniform. Talk to the governors. Yes, I just told that. I'm exactly right. Because guess what? And I love this. Mike Pence would have been a better president for this pandemic because he's normal. I can't stand him. I don't like many of his policies, but I can tell Mike Pence is a normal guy. That's why when Trump was mocking Mike Pence for still talking to the governors, I said to myself, that's because Mike Pence understands that you need to talk to the governors. But Orange Boy over here will never do that. No, he said, come on now. Now we're going to argue about facts. The latest statement from Biden on the debate stand was he would call governors to put mandates on masks. If they didn't listen to him, he would go to the mayors. He said that. He said he would go as far as local government council. So next, he literally said that. He said that on debate stage. So that's what I'm saying. He said that. He said he would talk to the governors and he would talk to local authorities if governors are not listening to him. That's as far as he's willing to go to get mask mandates. He said it. You know, and it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. Taiwan has ridiculously low death rate. Everybody and their mothers wearing masks over there. Masks are not magic answers, but one thing's for sure, they can help. And right now, you use everything that can help. If we're washing our hands, we should be. Why when we do masks? We know it transmits with droplets. Nah. You see, this is where we. See, Tohan, this is where me and you're gonna have to like leave it, because you asked me for points and I gave you the points, and now you're disputing the fact that the man literally said that. It's not the latest. Donald Trump mocked him for saying that early. Donald Trump made fun of him that he's gonna take your freedom away. He literally said that, and that's what I mean. That's what I mean. People got to follow what's going on. We got to follow what's going on. Fracking. Let me try to address this. I know my people are upset because it's just me and you today, but I like it because sometimes you're in your echo chamber, you don't have conversation with people who have a different point of view, and I like it. The issue with fracking is the same issue with coal that Hillary was destroyed for. Let me break this down. Hillary went to Virginia and told them, we're going to get rid of the coal mines. That phrase destroyed her in Virginia and in coal country. Why? Because it made it look like, oh, we depend on coal, and she's going to get rid of coal, so she must be evil. What Hillary meant was, coal is going away. We need to switch. We need to transition so we'll not be caught flat-footed. Fast forward to Trump, coal is still going away because it's not about it's not about that. It's about the changing technology. It's about fracking. It's about other forms of energy. It's about black lung disease. It's about mechanizing the coal industry. That's why coal is going away. Hillary wasn't saying that she was going to destroy the coal industry because she was going to be like, Thanos and put a ring on it. She was saying the coal industry is going, so we're going to go ahead of it and transition you to a different economy. She was pilloried. She was hated for it. Boom, whatever. Coal country is dying. Hillary's not president, but they're still dying because it wasn't about her. Same thing with fracking. Fracking is a transition opportunity. The truth is, at some point, we don't know when, alternative energy will be the thing. This is a trajectory that you and I can see. We know it. The question is how and when. Fine, I give you that. It might be years, it might be longer. So when someone tells you that fracking is transitional and that they're not going to ban fracking because you still need it now, but they're giving you a heads up, eventually you're going to have to do away with it because the cost benefit analysis is going to change. That's not news. That's how we live. That's how we live. It's not a stop fracking or not question. It's a matter of when are you going to stop fracking? I'm going to stop fracking when solar and wind and all the others kick up and they're good and that's all we're using. We won't need to break the ground anymore and release gases. What do you think about that? That's progression. That's just how history works. The Industrial Revolution literally gave us that blueprint. This is my problem. If it wasn't for politics, we would understand that. We would understand that. The second part of that is this. You have to move based on technology. The way, who predicted the way the internet has unfolded? People had an idea. This is crazy. The revolution came quicker than we thought. So if your solar energy, if people find a way to make solar more, more effective, cheaper, if they figure it out tomorrow morning, you may not need any fossil fuels. So your cost benefit analysis would change. Why not just use the sunlight and the energy from the sun? If you can power your city. Some nations are right now getting rid of the electric grid and relying on solar energy. If you get there, then you don't need the other thing. That's what progress is. That's how humanity has grown. Why are we acting like if Joe Biden tells you, I'm not going to ban fracking, but I am looking for a day when we can get rid of it? That makes sense. And you want to catch him in the gotcha, oh, are you for fracking or not? Like, that's a childish question. If I didn't have an alternative, I wouldn't frack. Just as when I got fracking, I want to do away with coal. It's like asking somebody in coal country, years before fracking, are you gonna ban coal? Now you're just being difficult. The person who told them that coal was gonna die was playing politics, and now coal is dying, and now we're all in the world of fracking. Fracking will also go away when there's a better alternative, cheaper alternative that comes along, and we're looking at those right in the window. So if I'm telling you that fracking, I'm not going to ban fracking now because we still need it. I don't have a choice. We have to frack. It doesn't mean that it's good. It doesn't mean that I like it. It doesn't mean that there are no detrimental effects of fracking. It only means that right now, the benefits outweigh the costs. When that changes, we move. It is childish because you know how progress works. You know how, and you're just pretending not to. You're pretending not to. It's like someone going to Nigeria and telling them a few years back that, oh, the internet is going to cause a revolution. And they're like, which is that we don't even have light. Boom. Fast forward. You already see the progression. You know how life works. You know how these things progress. But then you're going to hold the politician to a standard and not be able to go with him and understand what he's saying. If fracking tomorrow becomes unnecessary, it should be banned. Joe Biden's clarification is this. Joe Biden himself said he didn't want to ban fracking. What do you call it? Bernie Sanders will ban fracking, right? Kamala Harris will ban fracking. Let's just break this down so you can understand where Joe stands in the Democratic situation. Joe Biden is disliked by many on the left for the very thing you're talking about, just because he won't ban fracking. He got in trouble for it in the debates. This is where I get upset, because if I've been following him from the primaries and I've been seeing his positions for which he was denigrated and hated, things that he was being called out for. He said he didn't want the universal healthcare thing. He was called a weakling. He was called ridiculous. He says it again that, no, I want to keep Obamacare and expand and give you a public option on the side, which is what he said in the primary that got him kicked out. They hated him. Now he's saying it, like, oh, he's just saying that. Are you kidding? He suffered for it already. He suffered for saying it already. These are not new positions. Just that when you don't want to hear someone's description of what they're saying, you want to take the one word and not listen to the context. That's what happened with Hillary. Coal is going to go away. Oh, you witch, get out. Coal is going away. Because what she meant was, we're not going to depend on it as much. We're not going to need people to work the coal mines as much. We're going to use machines. We're going to use computers. Everybody and their mama understands that. But in a political situation, she's a witch for saying it. And we're not going to bother to listen to why she says coal is going away. We're just going to experience it as it happens. And President, oh, I'll save your coal is over here. Not talking about coal no more. He's not talking about it anymore. He can't. He was going to save the steel in Pennsylvania. He's not talking about that anymore because he can't. We can reason these things out. You can dislike a politician, but you can tease out what they're saying that makes sense. I said this about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is great at identifying problems. He's really good at it and making noise about it. The problem is his solutions. Donald Trump made noise about China cheating intellectual property, China's cheating on the world markets, China's cheating in this currency. He was right. What are you going to do about it, Donald Trump? Trade war. No, wrong. Idiot. Trade war is going to hurt all of us. That's not the solution. This is my problem. But he gets hailed for just saying the problem. World Health Organization pampered China. They were too close to China. Donald Trump says World Health Organization played fair, even though he, was clapping for China. Beat that aside. Oh, WHO, they're not doing our bidding. They're for China. We're gonna just walk away from. That's what you do. You walk away. You're supposed to get a stronger hold on it. It's a major world organization that you can use for someone that's done so much. You don't cancel it. That's my problem. He'll identify it, then he'll do the dumbest thing about it. The thing that will come back to bite everybody in the behind. It's not about that. So are you really telling me that you don't understand, that you don't believe that every statement has a context? Is that what you're telling me? No, tell me. You're telling me that there's no context to any statement? It's just the letters? Come on. That's not how we don't have conversations like that. This entire conversation we're having, you and me, is an opportunity for each of us to clarify. That's what we do. We clarify. If I say something and you say, what do you mean by that? On the debate stage, he told you, fracking at some point will no longer be sustainable. It will eventually be something you have to get rid of. Right now, no. Tomorrow, maybe. That's extremely acceptable because we know that life will tell us what to do at each point. Could anybody have predicted what 2020 would be like? Would I be having so much contact with my clients over Zoom? If my client told me, if all the clients I promised last year that they would come to my office or I would go to their house and we would meet. And now I'm telling them, I'm sorry, we just have to do it online. Do they not understand that the context has changed? There's a baseline to it. Unless you don't want to hear it, that's different. Yo, that's what I'm saying. Look, these things are not one-word answer things. And the problem has always been, the reason why people think they love Donald Trump is that he likes to have simplistic answers that bites us in the behind. That's the problem. It's going to go away in summer. It's only one person is going to go down. It's like a miracle is going to disappear. It's not going to come back in the fall. Beautiful answers, not supported by a single piece of science. And here we are, spiking in the fall. The summer was horrible. Summer was supposed to be the end of COVID. Now COVID went to Florida in the summer because the man who said it would go in summer is dumb. Because the scientists who knew better, like Fauci, said, oh no, it's coming back in the fall. That was the funniest video. Donald Trump standing there, but it may not come back at all. It may never come back. Fauci, no, it's coming back. Donald Trump gets up, no, but I'm saying, we may never have it. Fauci said, I am convinced. Fauci about to swear on his mama. Go watch that video. Fauci's like, what are you talking? It's gonna come back. All we gotta figure out how we go deal with. What are you talking about? Here we are in the fall. Fauci was right, and the moron was wrong. This is we are getting so dumbed down with this guy. America's collective IQ. We're struggling. We used to know better. We used to listen to scientists a bit more. If I want to learn about investments, I'll probably come to you. So how do you invest? If I want to learn about soccer, I go to some of my friends. If I want to bodybuild, I go to my boy Coyote. Because I know he builds and I've seen the results of his bodybuilding. That's how we normally do things. We go to the dudes and the dudettes who do that stuff. Under Trump, all of a sudden, scientists are liars, journalists are useless, everybody's dumb but him. How did we get here? Why are we worshiping a moron? It's sad. And I'm hoping this election, something changes. Something's got to give. Yeah, who still uses coal iron to press their attire? I'm telling you, man, we used to use coal, charcoal, you know, times change, situations change. And if you can predict that, then you tell your answer to that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy JFK. So man, you know, I love having you on today. Even though I got some of my people who are here, like they're mad at me, like, yo, why are you talking to only Tohon today? Like, nah, man, because we always on here together. But it was important to have that conversation. I liked it. And it comes back to this: you're making a decision to vote. You know, let's just be informed. Let's know what our candidates believe. Let's assess them. You know, and let's be informed on what their positions are. You know, because eventually that's when gonna be because you have two choices right now. You know, really, you know, you have two choices. And SARS is something where I've told you, I don't know what's going on with Fashola. I feel like, yo, let me make an appeal. Please leave Fashola alone. Leave Fashola alone, please. I'm begging you. Fashola is my guy. I don't care what you say. Whether or not he found camera, whether or not he found camcorder, Fashola is my guy. Leave him alone. He just saw a camera now. Have you never just seen a camera? What do you guys think about the attack on Fashola? For seeing it? They have turned Governor Fashola into a meme. It's not fair. It's not fair. I don't accept it. Fashola saw a camera and he picked it up like a detective. What's your issue? Eh? What's wrong in you? Fashola saw a camera. Fashola aside though, did you guys see Desmond Elliott? Did you guys see Desmond Elliott? I don't understand why someone like this would do that to himself. Desmond Elliott, man, he was on the floor, of the state senate, I believe it was, and he was giving a speech about the EndSARS movement, and he started talking like the guy on the other side of the shooting. You know, he started talking like the government, and it really shocked everybody because everybody thought, hey, we got one of us in there. And at the beginning of the EndSARS movement, no, Desmond Elliott was one of the guys. He was gaining ground. He was gaining ground, and I don't know what happened to him. So I'm gonna try to play the video. EndSARS video. Ladies and gentlemen. So let me get this. Y'all gotta watch this. So Desmond Elliott, man. Many of you don't see. You might have seen Desmond Elliott trending, but you may not know why. So I want to play this one. Kaya, they call him Desmond Idiot. No, he's my guy. I will not accept this. You guys are not nice. But I am disappointed. I can't even get to the conversation about some of the things we talked about earlier, that about the EndSARS protests and how things are changing in terms of information.
Speaker, the events of the last few weeks.
So let's go ahead with this.
Which commenced on the 7th of October 2020 and reached its climax on the 20th of October 2020, have bombarded me with a barrage of feelings. That of joy, sadness, sorrow, pain, tears. Apologies for coming late, sir. I accompanied the Right Honorable Speaker, House of Reps, to survey areas in Surulere that were bastardized, destroyed by people they call hooligans, but because they live amongst us, I will call them our brothers. Mr. Speaker, I saw people crying. I saw people crying, people fainting. Today, 3 days after the destruction, mothers who have worked hard, asking the Speaker, how are we going to go again? How do we grow again? I ask us, where have we failed? I commiserate with the lives of the people who have died during this period. I sympathize with those who've lost businesses. I sympathize with Lagos State and the deliberate attempt to cripple this state and to cripple our spirit. But as a people, we will not let that happen. Mr. Speaker, we need to address certain things. The Nigerian youth, the social media, the social influencers, all of these are making the narrative that we are seeing today, except we are joking with ourselves. Social media, yes, though good, has its negative impact. Let me first thank you for condemning the wanton killings and carnage that happened at Lekki. When I went through the comments, I could not believe it, Mr. Speaker. The curses, the abuses from children. And I ask myself, is this Nigeria? What is going on? Children cursing, people having the effrontery to enter an Oba's palace, hold the staff of office. Culture is gone. Mr. Speaker, in the next 5 years, there will be no Nigeria if we don't start now. The youth is not only those who do the peaceful protest, those who have looted, who have destroyed lives, they are youths as well. Mr. Speaker, pregnant women went into malls, picked things and went away. When shall we change this narrative? I put it to all the celebrities out there, all the motivational speakers. This is the only country we have. The wealthy will go. When anything happens, what is our common saying? We die here. Please, celebrities, please, social media influencers, stop the hatred already. You have a means constitutionally to change government. It's called your PVC. Go to the elections. If you are tired, come and enter government. People are dying. The narrative must change. Government, Mr. Speaker, this is my prayer. From the National Assembly, we must decentralize the federal government. Regions must start to operate. It's obvious states are on their own. Regions should.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Desmond Elliot, the Honorable Desmond Elliot has spoken. Let me ask you this: if you're still here with me, what do you think about Desmond Elliot? What do you think about about that video? The issue is this. Now he actually tried to merge a few things. You see, at the end of that statement, he talked about decentralizing and regional governance. And it occurred to me that maybe he was trying to appease the powers that be by, first of all, appearing to be indignant about the lootings and going against what he would consider his own people, like the youth vote. Because I have to think about, I like to think about what people are doing in terms of what's the strategy. Many of you remember from the show immediately following the NSAS. Many of you remember that I said, for me, Sanwo-Olu, I do not see him authorizing or ordering military men to shoot protesters. I said that when NSAS first happened. I said I don't, because strategically I felt like it would never be in his interest to be the governor under whose administration civilians were shot or shot at. Unarmed civilians were shot at by the military. I could not see a scenario in which Sanwo-Olu would have thought that to be a prudent approach. Even if it was trying to protect property or trying to please someone, I couldn't get myself to the point. Now, more information is coming out. There are some things I don't share until I can verify better. But right now, the track is this. It's looking as though Sanwo-Olu might have, accepted the assistance of the military to help him end the quote-unquote curfew-breaking protesters at Lekkigate, right? And that his understanding was they were going to do that work without firing on them, which I consider to be, just naive at the most generous to him. But that's negligence. Whatever you now say is negligence of the highest order, and anything that happens, it can be tied to him. If there's a homicide, it's negligent homicide because you are sending in military men and you know that there's a possibility that it might escalate. And you know that you're sending them to unarmed citizens. So you already know there's a possibility. Now, even if I give him the room to say he just wanted them to go there and scare them away. We have a history in this country of Nigeria where live ammunition goes off from police, military, upon civilians on a regular. Why would you, as a sitting governor, send the military to go and quell protests and then pretend as if you don't understand that it might devolve into a melee, into massacre? So Sanwo-Olu is coming out, just like I suspected, that he has some involvement, but I know that he would not have sanctioned actual shooting. Fine. With Desmond, I have to think about what is he trying to do? Is he trying to endear himself to the government and to the administration and to some people up there so that when he now slides in this conversation about decentralization, he will have some legitimacy? Now, if that was his plan, it is still a stupid plan, right? Because you have to know, and I commented, I said, read the room. Read the room. I've had the same conversations online. Anyone who comes out and thinks this is time to be attacking the protesters and saying, why were they out past curfew? You don't understand times and seasons. You don't know. Every protest has come about precisely because people feel or are convinced that the authorities themselves have become lawless. So, and I said this is a question of legitimacy. If I'm telling you that as a government, you are behaving as an enemy of the nation, there's a limit to which I can give you credibility when you tell me not to protest or to go home. This NSAS thing, there's a piece of information that people forget or people didn't pay attention to. NSAS has been disbanded more than once. NSAS has been disbanded more than once. And it has been reconstituted at least 3 times. Do you understand? So when people say, well, they should have gone home after the government listened to them and disbanded SARS, you understand there's a history of broken promises. In this case, it was even worse. They disbanded SARS and they immediately instituted SWAT. They didn't even wait till the protesters went home, which I thought was dumb on their behalf. That was the stupidest thing. And you see, the day they said they ended SARS and people celebrated, there was a chance that day. There was a chance. But then they went around and said, well, we're going to start SWAT. So he just basically told the protesters, your work is not done. And the longer a protest goes, the more opportunity for it to become a riot. That's universal. The Black Lives Matter movement experienced that this summer. They're legitimate protesters with strong causes, and the hijacking of that protest is very easy. The authorities themselves can infiltrate, like we saw in some parts of in America, where we saw that it was some police officers themselves handing out bricks. Some police officers were the ones breaking windows. Not all, but there were 1 or 2 places just to prime, they got to prime the pump, just to get the blood flowing, so that the people will now follow suit and break more windows. So that will happen in any protest. The problem I'm pointing out is this: you have to read your room. Desmond Elliott does not understand that a conversation right now that does not focus on the nucleus of this issue, that unarmed protesters were shot at with live ammunition will sound as if you are applauding the shooting by the military. That's it. That's just how you sound. And unfortunately, I'm upset and I'm hurt because I am in a place now where I'm looking for leaders, new leaders that would use this opportunity and this moment to stand up and help us with this reorganization. And I'll be honest, Desmond was one of those people I looked at because when the NSARS movement started, he seemed to be one of those that stepped up, you know, as somebody in politics to help out. But this thing he said on the floor was just tone deaf. He seemed to have more outrage about the looting. Now listen to something he said on the video. I played the video. He said, I saw pregnant women. I saw pregnant women breaking into stores and carrying things. Listen to yourself. Why should pregnant women be so desperate to carry their belly to go and rob during a protest? Is that not proof positive that the society is in decay? You see that you miss the point even in your own statement. He said, I saw pregnant women breaking into stores. Ladies and gentlemen, people always, I say this, we can hold two thoughts in our heads at the same time. And I've done it before. I do it. I condemn the looters. I condemn the rioters. I condemn the arsonists. Not just condemn, I hope they get arrested. I said about the ones in America too. I hope they arrest you. I hope they, now in Nigeria, they say they paraded some people that they caught for looting. I hope they are really guilty. That's one of the problems with our system, isn't it? They will round everybody up, guilty or not guilty. I saw a picture of a small boy on the grass that someone said they rounded up. I don't know if it's true, so I'm not going to push it like that. I hope not. So I hope they catch looters. I hope the bicycle, the motorbike you stole, I hope it gives you away when they come to the front of your house and say, where do you get this bike? I hope the bag of rice you are carrying, if you see, on the one hand, I'm like, for those who carried rice, I feel like we should have separate justice system for rice carriers. Carry the alpha. Yeah, the people are impoverished. So he's now showing outrage that some pregnant women were carrying materials. They shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to. They're carrying these materials because the people, a lot of Nigerians who are involved in this, I'll say this and I could be wrong. Many of them saw this as an opportunity of a lifetime. When am I ever going to get rice like this? When am I ever going to get a bike to start a business? Those that went to the Oba's palace, where am I going to get my hands on dollars like this in the coffin? Somebody said that dollars, you will turn to rats. Someone said, let me turn to rats. Rat is better than this. You know? And he was talking about the indignation. They went into a king's palace. Like, what are you talking about, bro? What's the point of having kings? What's the point of kings? If the people suffer and the king is living good, living fat. He had dollars in a coffin. You're not worried about that. You're talking about how they broke into the Oba's palace. Oba had dollars and pounds sterling in a coffin. Woyita, you are here. Why won't they carry rice? After all, whose rice was it? Let's start with that. Whose rice was that they carried? Somebody tell me that. I don't understand Desmond. Desmond did not apply wisdom at all. It's about timing. This is not the time to make it seem as though, you know, you're commiserating with the rich. Now, let me break it down. Those who have lost businesses, those who have lost livelihoods to the riots and all that, not only do they deserve compensation, that, you see, this is my thing. Desmond should be there talking about plans. Every market woman, everybody that lost a store, they should go and find money and begin to compensate them just to start to heal. You should be on that. That's what you should be doing. You see, you don't come out and make it look like you are more worried about the looting. Listen to what I'm saying. If you are more concerned about the looting of rice and the breaking of the Oba's palace than you are about the people that were shot at Lekki, than you are about the SARS situation that led to the protest in the first place, then you are declaring your allegiance for the oppressor class. That's why I feel like it wasn't smart. It wasn't smart. You know, the truth is, I think he was even talking about restructuring there, where he's talking about, you know, we should decentralize. He was conflating the wrong issues. That was not the time. What is wrong? Why is Desmond doing this? Desmond had a chance to be one of the leaders of the new movement. And I think he's just ruined it. And I'm upset. Because I want a coalition. I pray for a coalition to emerge from this. Not just Generation X, not just Generation Y, just people of goodwill towards Nigeria. Of every faith, every dichotomy. I want them to come together under this umbrella of a new Nigeria. And it hurts me when someone I feel like should be one of the option for leaders comes out and says this. And it's not talking about, it's so annoying. He made a valid point about decentralization. I'm on that boat. But you cannot add that statement to a rant about how we have lost our culture. What are you talking about, bro? The culture of oppression? The culture of the rich and the guys at top of government enjoying themselves at the expense of everybody else? That culture? Good riddance to it. You're worried about people looting the Oba's palace? You know, but you don't have much to say about the fact that the bags of rice that were supposed to be given to people for COVID palliatives was rotting. You picked the wrong issue, bro. You picked the wrong issue. Because let me tell you, so I've said it before, the looting and the vandalism and the thing, now the government officials are, they use these guys for elections. These government officials utilize vandals and people that are ready to destroy. The last election, we saw them drive into a polling booth, take the ballot box, dump it, and shoot and send people away. During the elections, they don't mind thuggery. Danielo, you see that now? During elections, they don't mind thuggery to win election. But now they can say, imagine them looting and going to the Oba's palace. Listen to what Desmond said. Desmond said, I saw pregnant women breaking into a store. Listen to your own statement. Pregnant women are breaking into a store. Is that normal? Eh? Is that not desperation? Is that not a calculation in the pregnant woman's mind? This might be the only chance for me to get something to feed this baby. Well, how about that? And you are so waxing indignant, as if you don't understand what's underlying this entire issue. The poverty and the hunger in the land. You guys, I say you guys because Desmond, you have just confirmed yourself as a member of the political class fully. During election, you guys will be giving bread and 5,000 naira because you know they are poor. Now that there's an opportunity for them in their eyes to loot, you're acting surprised that they are looting. What are you talking about? Yo, it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. I can't get over the fact that they use the example of pregnant women. If you are making a speech about how deplorable it is for people to loot, and your example is that pregnant women are looting, ask yourself, what kind of a society are you running where pregnant women will participate in such out of desperation? He was talking about the Oba's palace. I don't understand this. The Oba, the ruler, traditional rulers, they derive their legitimacy from the culture and the society upon which they reign. When that culture and that society breaks down, they are not immune. You're not immune from the destruction of the society. You sit in your ivory, you sit in your tower and you think that it will never come to you. Let the masses realize that they have no more options. They are coming for you. This is why you need to do the right thing proactively. Take care of your people. You know, take care of your people. And they may not loot you. And if they want to loot, there will be those of you, no, don't go to Oba's house. We are not. Nobody was fighting for the Oba's palace. That's your clue. You know, that's your clue. And I'm telling you, if you don't get a handle on this, you have not seen anything yet. This eruption is a little piece of all the things that have been bottled up. You know? And I'm telling you, very soon, it's either we get our act together as a nation, or we begin to have something like this as our regular. And that's what I've been afraid of. You know, I had a whole conversation last week. I'm going to finish now, where I said there are those who want Nigeria to break up. I don't blame them. But I disagree with them because I feel like we should try again a little bit more before we talk about breaking up, because I don't see us breaking up well. We can't even do light. So I don't see us breaking up properly. What we will call breakup will just be a rubbishing of everything. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Breaking up is not something you just say with your mouth. What's your blueprint for breaking up? How? I've seen people say, let's have a referendum. We can go our separate ways. If you have a referendum, how are you going to get it up to a conversation level? You know? It's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel said, United Nations of Nigeria. I love the concept, but how do you get there? How do you get there? You know, good luck, Jonathan put together a confab, you know, a convention, a conference. Many people were there to get their own money, and they went to sleep at the convention. Even with that, they came out with some results. But people started doubting the legitimacy. That who sent those people? You don't speak for us. That's how the whole thing about. And then the incoming government, of course, you know, threw it away. You will never get continuity. So that's why I'm still in the field. But let's try to make it. Let's try to work with this now a little bit more. This EndSARS movement is an opportunity to restart the engine. We could do it, but not with people like Desmond Elliott missing the point completely. Talking about pregnant women looting and not realizing that inside that statement is the root of the problem. That pregnant women are realizing that they need to loot to survive. You are missing the point. A king's palace. What are you talking about? The king had dollars inside the coffin. You're not shocked by that, but you're shocked by the fact that people looted the king's palace. Yeah, we've been trying since 1960. My problem is the alternative is not just to break up, because if we have failed at being unified, and you say it's time to break up, the thing that makes it difficult for us to unify is still waiting for us when we try to break up. And that one is more dangerous. I'm telling you, I do not foresee a Nigeria breakup that does not involve some real sorrow. There's sorrow now, there's real sorrow now, but there's realer sorrow, more sorrow. More sorrow is awaiting Nigeria. If you cannot figure out, nobody has been able to tell me exactly how they planned this breakup. Nobody has been able to tell me. The Oduduwa Nation thing trended for a while. They wanted to have his rally. There were Yoruba people that opposed him, that betrayed him. I say him, but it's a movement. But they internal fighting, they destroyed it. This is what I'm talking about. That's why I'm on the bandwagon of let's see if we can decentralize. It's a more achievable goal to regionalize Nigeria a little bit more. It's more achievable, it's more attainable. The breaking up is a big deal. Maybe if we regionalize first and decentralize, then we can have the next conversation of breaking up. Because you have to determine where will the small places go, because they won't follow everybody. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is your boy JFK, man. We talked a little politics today. I had a good conversation with my sister Tohon. I hope she comes back again. We went in on, you know, Biden, Trump, and it was good. It was really good. And I know some of my people were upset, like, is she the only one here? But no, you know, you guys, you know how I do now. Some people who disagree with me, they come to the front of the line so that they can keep me honest. They can check me, I can check them. And, you know, you never know. You're having that conversation. It's rare, but once in a while, you convince someone about something that they didn't consider before, you know. But you know, that's how it rolls today. I want to appreciate you guys for being on here. Like I said, our election special, November 3rd. You know what? I'm going to invite her on the show. You have a good point. I'm going to invite Toho on the show to actually have a conversation. Yeah, it's a good point. I like that. Like Danielo in the building. What's going on, big man? Yes, so Yinka, you were late, but I appreciate you. Yinka, did you vote already? Did you early vote? They say Texas is hot for early voting now. You guys are voting as if you are New York. What's going on over there? What's going on in Texas? Kyrie in the building. Babake. What are we doing? What are we working on? Yes, so I know BC, yeah, the ignoring the mummuness. You know, the thing that gets me is this attempt to make them look like, hey, they are all rubbish. No, sir. We're not doing that here. You will break down everybody's rubbish. We will measure the rubbish, and we'll see which one is more rubbisher than the other. Because that's how people. That's what you guys. That's what we did on the. That's what we did for Hillary. That's what we did for Hillary. You know, yeah, she's also a politician. I don't like her. I don't like her. But yes, but can she read? You didn't answer that question. Can she write? You didn't answer. Can she spell words? You didn't answer that question right. Now you have this guy, who calls Yosemite. He calls it Yosemite. America, you have suffered. Ladies and gentlemen, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're gonna try to make that a thing. BC, I'm gonna try to connect with you, man. I got a lot going on. I've been on a lot of Zooms lately, man. I've been getting some calls, you know, as you see today. So it's been tight, but we're gonna work on it. Daniel, Abi, yes, I was saying. Daniel, it's true now. They don't want to compare rubbish. Hey, you can share the link. Oh, hopefully they won't hate me too much. Even if they don't like me, at least they will watch. You know, particularly for the YouTube group. And I'm ready to bring people on to so we can have it back and forth. You know, yeah, BC, I know, right? People, you know, the show is officially over. Please, these are just for my people who are still here. One of the things I love is, like, I want to appreciate everybody who's been coming on this show. You guys are making something small. You're turning into something real, and I appreciate it. Just hanging out with you guys, FB Live, just chatting, and all of a sudden, I really appreciate finding out that there are people who have been watching the show. They don't comment, they don't do this, but they've been taking note of some of our conversations, and they've begun to you know, invite me to come over and just be part of the conversation in other spheres, and I really appreciate it. And that would not be possible if I didn't know that every time I click, you know, live, that some of my people are going to show up. You understand what I'm saying? If after all these months I've been doing it, if my people didn't show up, I would have just quietly just stopped doing it. But you guys are here, so all of a sudden I'm getting calls, man. We're stepping up conversations. You know, let's get it, man. Let's get it. You know, hey, you know, me and you are going places. Leave them. We are going places. This COVID, we will defeat it, and then we'll roll back with power. Yeah. Yes. So, okay. So Tuesday for the YouTube live. That's a good question. BCOY. I'm looking at the election. I know by the time it's like 6, 7, they'll start tallying information. So I'm looking at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Tuesday night. Hey, Danilo, I appreciate you, brother. You see, when handsome people and beautiful people support you, everybody else will fall in. So Daniel is here, so I'm not scared. Yo, so yeah, it's looking like 7 p.m. on Tuesday, man. That's it. Me and BC gonna work it out. BC, I'm the one that has to call you now, because you're the one that called me last to work on this thing. So it's my turn to make sure that I appreciate your time. So Tuesday, election day, 7 p.m. I think we're gonna kick off, start analyzing results, start breaking down. It's gonna be crazy. And since I've already voted, I don't have to vote that day. I'm ready. You know, whatever happens, please share the video, subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna push that. I think that's my job for the next couple of days. Push our YouTube channel, because it's exclusively on YouTube, and we're gonna have a conversation. If you want to be part of the show that day, you want me to send you the link so you can join me in the studio and feature, I am ready for you. Please let me know, because I'm going to be needing correspondence, you know, from different states. What's it like in your state? What's the voting like in your area? You know, but it's your boy JFK, man. It's been fun today. It's been very, very tough. It's been back and forth. BC, I'm going to go vote again. BC, you can't vote again. It's a crime. Oh. You can't vote twice. BC, is a crime. Oh, don't go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy JFK later, man. You know, we'll talk soon. If you haven't voted, vote. Let's see what happens on Tuesday. Anything can happen, and the day after, life will continue. You know, but we have a preference. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy